Welcome to Thoughts on Thursday. It's Reverend Miller.
And Stuart Holmes.
It's our time to chat with you about worship and the things we're thinking about worship and how we're planning worship. And often we are looking at why did we make these choices for a specific service. And that many of us hoped that the pandemic would be subsiding by now, and it seems to only be intensifying. So anxiety has risen once again, and plans change because of that. And as I reflect on worship, and that worship is a communal activity, us coming together. And we have made changes so that we could be together in many different ways. One, online, YouTube or Facebook, and now also in person. But we had to make changes for all that to happen. And sometimes it feels like we're together, and sometimes it might feel like we're more distance because it's not what we're used to. And so Stuart and I, as we plan, we're struggling with that, and we try to weigh all those options. And I realized that we used to have the ability to plan months in ahead and have things pretty set and maybe make a change or two along the way. And now we want to do that, and we often get some plans in place, and then those plans have to change because of different restrictions or different things happening in our society. And so with that in mind, we are trying to plan and forecast what Advent and Christmas will be this coming year. And it's amazing to think it's upon us. We're just, this is Christ the King Sunday, this coming Sunday, and then the first Sunday in Advent. And as we are making these plans and thinking about what we should do, we realize that life is going to be different. And so on one aspect, as we plan and put together the Christmas decorations and arrangements for our service, this year we have to decorate in a way that people who come in person will enjoy and see, but also for those who see online through YouTube and Facebook, they get a different perspective. They don't get to see the whole sanctuary. So decorations and where trees are placed are going to be different, and so we have to plan that and think that through. So that's one thing. Also, we were hoping that maybe we would start congregational singing. That's not happening, and we need to continue to take a break from congregational singing. And so that also kind of creates a distance because we like to sing, and especially our Christmas carols. So one way to kind of involve us all, right? We are taking requests for Christmas carols that will be sung through Advent, Christmas, and Epiphany. If you want to make a request, you can do so right on YouTube or on Facebook and request, and we're going to try, Stuart and I, to place them throughout the worship services. And hopefully that's a way we can still feel connected in a communal worship. Also, as we make all those plans, we might make a plan and realize after viewing the service, oh, that didn't look good. We'll have to make a change, And so those are the things we're trying to do. We're hoping to do, as our tradition, to have the Advent candles and have families read and light a candle each Sunday. We're going to try that. So it does help us see what's important in worship, and then really maybe not fully do what we have done in the past, but give it taste, because we know those things bring back such meaning and really help bring the joy of the season. So that's what we're trying to do. We ask that you participate by giving us a suggestion for a Christmas carol, and also participate by sending a little grace, Stuart and my way, on occasion when we make a mistake. And so that's what we're hoping to do. We will hopefully have 2 Christmas Eve services. We think that will probably be best to make sure that there's not too many people all at one time, and we'll continue to give information on that. The joy of Advent is that longing and expectation of wholeness from Christ. And I think even though COVID brings us anxiety and difficulties, it also will help us really experience Advent and waiting for Christ to come again. So Stuart, you've got some thoughts on music in that same kind of theme.
Right down the same road. I had the opportunity to hear Yo-Yo Ma being interviewed on NPR this past week, and he was talking about his project, Songs of Comfort. He said a number of things that really struck me. One of them was music speaks to those that are in the most need, or in most need. And he said that we need to find our voice to key into that, whether it's not a physical voice, but a mental voice, whether it's singing or whether it's listening to music. He talked about all those things that help us find our voice, our place. He switched to a video of the doctors at Mayo Clinic, and there were two doctors still in their scrubs, masks on, except for masks hanging, I should say, playing the piano and singing a gorgeous song. This doctor was not just a fantastic doctor, but he was also a fantastic keyboardist. It just hit me, and it said that can help those two doctors kind of dig in and to find comfort. And it helps us too to know that. Yo-Yo said that music is personal, it's true, it's trustworthy, and he talked it helps build community, no matter whether it's in physical presence of other people, or in our case now with the pandemic, separated by walls. But it certainly helps us bring us together. I played at the beginning just a snippet from New World Symphony, Dvorak's New World Symphony, which was an example of music bringing together. I have another example which I think many people will recognize. Samuel Barber's Adagio for strings. It just brings us to a place of comfort, of relaxing. We can also do the opposite. Music can also do the opposite. It can bring us joy. Certainly, Handel's Messiah choruses.
Almost made me want to sing, but I thought you wouldn't want that.
I'm moving right along. Yo-Yo's comments did speak to me, and that brings me to my second thought. As I'm listening to this interview, many of you know that I'm practicing almost daily. I'm practicing as much as I have ever practiced, including those days when I was an undergraduate student. And there have been frustrations. You talked about our planning and frustrations with, things don't look the same, things don't, we're not acting the same, whatever. And those frustrations for me as a musician have been at times rather, what's a good word? I'm drawing a blank. I've just been totally put out after working so hard on a postlude. Last week was an example, and not having it come across the way I wanted to. And then I heard Yo-Yo Ma say, while I'm on stage, everyone around is my guest, because it's that sort of unsaid agreement. He continues, while you're my guest, if something bad happens on stage, I often think of Julia Child. Oh, the chicken's fallen on the floor. Yes. Oh, well, pick it up and put it right back. And you know what? Everybody thinks the same thing, except for at the moment, certainly me. I go, I just have to remember that. Yo-Yo Ma, Maestro Ma ends with some very poignant statements. So if whatever you practice fails, it's all right, because we all have a greater purpose. The greater purpose is that we're communing together, and we want this moment to be really special for all of us. Otherwise, why bother having come at all? It's not about proving anything. It's about sharing something. It's like we planned this together, and it all just came together. And thanks to Maestro Ma, I'm feeling pretty good about what I'm going to do.
And about sharing. And
Yeah.
So every Sunday is, in some ways, a potluck where everyone brings something, and we can enjoy that company together. And that's what we're hoping for Advent and for Christmas. And we ask that you give those suggestions and just to join in either in person or on Facebook and YouTube so that we can continue to worship together as the body of Christ. And also, along those carol themes, Stuart is actually going to play medleys, correct?
Mm-hmm.
On the carols for prelude and postlude. Or
Certainly going to try.
certainly going to try. So it's going to be a gathering together and experimenting and having fun and feeling the joy of Advent and Christmas. So thanks for joining us on this Thursday, and these are our thoughts.
Take care.